Well, progress is made. Obviously, we were close together, working about 4 weeks, 6 games. The things that we want to get across and the new ideas that we have, you could have seen them already for a little bit during the games that we've played so far. I think the intensity has gone up. There's slightly more diversity in the attacking play, and we're trying to get more established in out of possession because consistency is needed within this squad. Is something that we're aiming for. But you also see there's quite a few changes within the squad. Some players are not available during preseason, so we had to get everybody up to speed, and I think we're there and ready to play the league now.
Roberto?
Pascal, Roberto Bromwich, Spanish Radio, New York City. Last night, Inter Miami played in minus 15 degrees centigrade against Sporting Kansas City. Was there anything that you could garner out of that game that's helpful for you in preparation for the game on Saturday?
It was more a confirmation from the games that we saw previously, also played by Inter Miami. As you know, they've played quite a few games in preseason, competitive games also, and yesterday was a confirmation, apart from a few guys that were not available for this game, like Alba wasn't playing, but we expect him to play on Saturday. But as I said, it was more a confirmation of what we already knew.
And what did you garner out of that? What are you expecting on Saturday then?
Well, two guys up front that can play. They score the goals. They're very important for their style of play. You can see the defensive structure in their way of playing has changed a little bit. I think it's a little bit more disciplined than it was before. But then again, once they're in possession, especially in the turnovers going into attack, you have to be really, really careful where Suarez and Messi are, because those are the guys that will make the difference. But in the setup, as expected, Busquets is also very important in that play. If Jordi Alba plays, he's a very dominant figure on the left side, and it will be a small question mark who will play as a left winger in their system, because they have the possibility between two great players, but they play a little different compared to each other.
Coach, Justin Hack is a player who has, especially in the last year before you were here, was being used in a few different positions. He really feels like he's going to be an important part of your team this year, especially in that central defensive midfield role. What did you see from him in preseason, and what do you expect from him going forward?
All the things that you just mentioned, I was told about, so I had to get to know Justin myself. And like all the others, he was very engaged with the new ideas that I have and I brought with me. He's played as a central midfield player and as a centre back in preseason. Both roles he did quite well. I know he has a preference to play in midfield, but we'll have to see how the team will progress and if he keeps performing and delivering the quality that we're looking for as a team, he will get his chance to play. So now the moment is there, because he's had a lot of playtime during preseason, and we're hoping that he can continue the line that's gone upwards in preseason.
Going on to the Zoom, we'll start with Alex, followed by George.
Morning, Pascal. It's Alex only from AM New York.
Morning.
You touched on Inter Miami earlier. Do you see this as an opportunity to take advantage of their potential fatigue while maintaining your own squad's intensity for the full 90 minutes this Saturday? Thanks.
Well, that's an interesting question. Like the question before, they played midweek, and that's the difference with our schedule. We finished preseason during the weekend, so we had a whole week to prepare ourselves for this game. But like I said just now, they've been very competitive over the preseason and played many games. And as I've gotten to know this team, they like playing matches more than they like to train, is what is something that I've heard. So I don't think that will be a problem for them turning up and trying to play a good game on Saturday again.
George?
Perfect. Coach, welcome to New York.
Thank you.
George from the Exchange FC. Quick question. First, you guys have sorted out, over the past few years, you guys have been really good against Miami. You guys are missing a few pieces and new strategies, obviously. What are you trying to do to make sure that, you guys keep this well record against these guys? And second of all, excuse me, towards the end of last season, the old coach was getting a lot of backlash from the fans. Are you prepared for the scrutiny and stuff that comes with New York sports and being the main guy for a New York team?
Well, I'm not sure, George, what happened with the previous coach at the end of the season. To be frank, I'm not really interested. Also, I'm new here in New York with my own ideas. Started a new project with a lot of energy, together with my staff and my players. So that's what I'm looking forward to. The other question is something that is also concerning our game plan. So I'm sorry I cannot answer that question like I would like to. So you'll have to wait and see on Saturday how our plan will work out.
We'll go with Michael, followed by Scott.
Hi, Coach. Mike Gander from Blue City Radio. Thanks
Hi,
for
Mike.
the time.
Hi.
So, want to ask you for maybe some criticism and maybe a little bit of praise. You've been with NYCFC for about a month.
Mm-hmm.
Curious if you can think about one thing that you are, surprised or that they're doing that you hadn't thought about as far as the training or a club organization perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and then something that you're surprised about that you said, "Wow, I can't believe you guys haven't been doing this."
Well, those things I discussed with my staff and especially David Lee, so I'm not going to discuss them with you. The one thing that has pleasantly surprised me, the adaptation to the intensity of the training and the schedule, because the frequency has gone up, the intensity has gone up, and the players are adapting quite well. So frankly, I'm quite happy as things are now. The things that I'm not happy with is something I discuss with other people.
Scott, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how are you? Scott Church from Stream Punk Soccer. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
With some of the changes that have happened up front, obviously to talk about Santi, the movement of Jovan to Europe, talk a little bit about how that impacts the team as a whole, how you see someone like, say, Munsef Bakrar, how he's going to adapt going forward, and just your general thoughts across the board. Thanks.
Okay. Well, that's an easy one. It's quite common that players come and go in clubs. They make their steps. Sometimes they make a step to Europe or wherever they go and try their chances somewhere else. But in our case, it always opens doors for other players to perform. And that's what happened now in the past 4 weeks. Other players have presented themselves in order to fill up the gaps that came into the team. So as I said to your colleague with the previous question, I'm very happy how the team is progressing right now. And also the guys that have stepped up to fill the open spaces in the team. So hopefully they can continue and progress even more.
Chris?
Hey, Coach. Chris Campbell from the outfield. Just wondering if you can give us an update regarding injury status and availability for Saturday. I know Thiago Martins was held out of the preseason games, and if there's any other players that have injuries that might hold them out of Saturday's game. Thanks.
Yeah. We can be very clear on that. Thiago is going very well. He trained today with the team for the first time without modification. And hopefully he will be okay during the weekend with the program that we foresee for him and join the squad again from Monday on. But he will not be available for Saturday's game. And the same is for Tavon Gray. Unfortunately, he will not be available for Saturday, but hopefully he will join us again after the weekend.
Michael Allen.
Coach, Michael Allen with Post Soccer. Just wondering, last year and the year before, the teams had a really rough record on the road going into games like against Miami. How do you see your approach to a road game as opposed to a traditional home match, especially going against a team like Miami with so many big players and stars?
Mm-hmm. I'm aware of their performances from last season. There's a few things that we've addressed in our dressing room, which will hopefully help us be more successful in the away games. Game management is one phrase I use to address the players, because we have to be aware that certain games needs a different strategy or a different approach, and games need to be managed in a different order to be more successful. That's in general, but especially if you look at the away games in the previous season, that is something that we have emphasized a lot.
And final one, Justin.
Hi, Coach. Justin Egan, the outfield. Welcome to New York.
Thank you.
Patrick Vieira, Domi Turan, Ronnie Gaila, these were all European managers for NYCFC that had adjustment periods for some of the esoteric things in MLS, like GAM and TAM and DP spots, the massive home field advantage, the burden of away travel. How do you feel like you're adjusting to MLS? Is there anything that you're approaching differently than you did in Europe?
That's a fair question. Me coming from Europe, of course, I'm the one who has to adapt the most. What has helped has been being on the road to California for a month, seeing the team progress in pre-season, but also getting acquainted with the traveling schedule. So I'm hanging in there, and so far so good.